This is the reason why Christianity is the largest religion in the world. Christianity, it's not any of the things we've discussed. Christianity appeals to the two worst features that we struggle with. What's a worst character trait that leads to the worst possible decisions? Low self-esteem, okay? Low self, if you think, like, what is the worst decisions I've ever made in my life? Your self-esteem was probably shattered. So what Christianity does is it affirms it and says you are a sinner. This is why this is Esav. Esav was at Sayed Bapiv. He hunted with his mouth. That's what Christianity does. Christianity, instead of doing what the Navi does, the Navi says you're creating the image of Hashem. Turn back to him and he'll return to you. Raise yourself up. That's what the Navi says. You can do it. Sin is not a person. It's an event. That event happened yesterday. Yesterday ended last night. Today is a new day. That's Tanakh. You can do it. Return to me and I'll forgive you. Christianity is, no, you're a nightmare. You are a sinner. You're infected with the original sin. And that appeals to people with a low self-esteem. That's the attraction. And then the second part. What is our second worst feature? Our second worst feature is clearly this: arrogance, that vice of gaiva. So Christianity then says, when you're saved, you are actually, God speaks through you and you're a prophet. Follow? So Christianity, the arguments that Christianity are not really arguments. They're selling people on these two things. And then what's man's worst fear? His greatest fear is going to what happens after I die? I don't want to go to hell. That's the biggest fear. But there's something very striking in Tanakh. There's never once a threat of hell or heaven anywhere in Tanakh. Ever. Ever. Not once. Other religions all over the place. Would it work? It would be very effective. Heaven and hell were threatened all over the Torah. It never is. It's mentioned, agavurcha. It's mentioned there is a resurrection. There is, but never is a threat. Why? It's very simple. If you're God, why would you threaten heaven and hell? That's crazy. You can actually control the weather. So what you would do if your God is, you go, all right, let me explain. If you turn away from me, it's just going to stop raining. Stop raining, nothing grows. Your wife's not going to conceive. Because you're God, you can say, you're going to go into exile 70 years, but then return back. Because you control the weather and you control history. If you're not God and you're making up a Bible, you just say you're going to hell. And it's the claim of unfalsifiability. And this is what makes Christianity very effective, because people are afraid of going to hell. But the problem, of course, is, like, you can't check it out. You can't test it. We can't go to a cemetery with a shovel, dig up a grave and say, Harry, how did it go?
Right.
So those are the hallmarks of false religions. So that's where Christianity is very successful, in convincing people that they are really a mess. They're emotionally a nightmare, that you are a sinner, and there's nothing you can do to save yourself. And that's the attraction of Christianity. It's not in the text.